We have breaking news out of the Middle East and out of Washington, D.C. President Trump just moments ago from the Oval Office announced that his understanding is that Hamas has accepted the terms, the ultimatum that he gave them that was supposed to expire on Sunday, and that peace is at hand in the Israel-Hamas war. Like so many things, the devil's in the details, but this is as close as we have been in a long, long time. And man, we just really hope this is going to work out. But let me go right straight. Here's what the President of the United States had to say just moments ago.
I want to thank the countries that helped me put this together: Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Jordan, and so many others. So many people fought so hard. This is a big day. We'll see how it all turns out. We have to get the final word down in concrete. Very importantly, I look forward to having the hostages come home to their parents and having some of the hostages, unfortunately, you know the condition they're in, come home likewise to their parents, because their parents wanted them just as much as though that young man or young woman were alive. So I just want to let you know that this is a very special day, maybe unprecedented in many ways. It is unprecedented, but thank you all. And thank you all to those great countries that helped. We were given a tremendous amount of help. Everybody was unified in wanting this war to end and seeing peace in the Middle East. And we're very close to achieving that. Thank you all, and everybody will be treated fairly.
And that was President Trump just moments ago. Everyone will be treated fairly. And that is certainly encouraging news. He said everybody wanted this. And I certainly know that all of the people in the Gaza Strip have been pining and praying for this day for now closing in on 2 years. I think it's also very noteworthy that this peace comes ahead of the 10/7 anniversary. And if they can actually have a peaceful day on that, and especially if the Palestinian people finally get to live without having to worry about bombs falling on their heads, if the hostages, those that are alive especially, can be home on that day, the family members of those folks, just I can't even imagine the relief and the joy that they will have. And so we certainly hope that it can happen as rapidly as possible. We got to be careful, though. And then President Trump, you could see even in his own comments there, he was very guarded in what he said. He hopes that this is going to work out. There's still a lot to go on. Let me actually read you what spurred all of this. This is the official statement from the, if I can pull the right one up there, this is the official statement from Hamas, because they had been given an ultimatum by Trump. And, you know, he had threatened him with all hell will break loose again. I don't know how you could get that done, but nevertheless, they have released this statement. The Islamic Resistance Movement, Hamas, appreciates the Arab, Islamic, and international efforts, as well as the efforts of U.S. President Donald Trump, aimed at halting the war in the Gaza Strip, achieving a prisoner exchange, allowing immediate entry of humanitarian aid, rejecting the occupation of the Strip, and opposing the displacement of our Palestinian people from it. In this context, and in a manner that achieves an end to the war and a full withdrawal from the Gaza Strip. It's unclear whether they mean is full withdrawal of the Israelis or of the Hamas, because apparently both of those are supposed to happen. Let's see, the approval to release all prisoners of the occupation, both living and the bodies of the deceased, according to the exchange formula, including President Trump's proposal, and with the provision of appropriate field conditions for carrying out the exchange of the process. That apparently is in relation to what President Trump has said since this time, that he wants all of the bombing to immediately stop in the Gaza Strip. He wants the IDF to stop any of their combat operations to make this as possible or easy as possible, so that there are no issues with bringing the hostages out. In this regard, the movement affirms its readiness to immediately enter into negotiations. This is a key part here, through the mediators to discuss the details. The movement also reiterates its approval to hand over the administration of the Gaza Strip to a Palestinian body composed of independents, based on Palestinian national consensus and support by Arab and Islamic backing. As for the other issues included in the President Trump's proposal that relate to the future of the Gaza Strip and the legitimate rights of the Palestinian people, these are subject to a comprehensive national position and must be based on relevant international laws and resolutions. These matters shall be discussed with a unified Palestinian national framework in which Hamas will participate and contribute with full responsibility. So that there's a lot of things in there. So the war is not over. So let's be clear on that. And Hamas has agreed to talk. Now, one of the things I mentioned just the other day when I was telling you about this stuff as it was happening is that this was an agreement, this ultimatum between Benjamin Netanyahu and Donald Trump and their respective teams. Hamas was not participating in it. So this was just being presented to them as a plate. Now, what's unclear is what is the Israeli position on this. And you see just from a quick scan of the Israeli media here, this is the Times of Israel. They say in that interesting headline, Trump says he believes Hamas ready for peace, demands Israel immediately halt strikes in Gaza. One of the big questions is going to be is, will Israel agree to this, aside from Hamas? Because they, and especially men like Ben-Gvir, Smotrich, these hard right leaders and many others in Israel, as Netanyahu pointed out correctly just the other day, this is not just him, not just a couple of hardliners, but there's large portions of the Israeli population that believe this. And you may recall early this week, I showed you an ex-post by Ben-Gvir who said, we will not stop until we have fully defeated Hamas in the Gaza Strip and annexed the West Bank. So he continues to say, at least he did up until this news broke, that he's still not interested in a peace. He wants a complete military victory. So how Netanyahu is going to have to square that circle, that's something that still has to be determined. So a lot of things still have to happen. But the most important thing right now is to get the bombing stopped, to give the people of Palestine, for the first time, other than a very short ceasefire when Trump first came in, relief from the daily death and destruction from the Israeli Defense Forces coming from the air. That is something that they deserve richly. And there are all these other issues, all these other complications, they can all be dealt with, but that has to be first and foremost. And alongside with that, concurrent, is getting the Israeli hostages, all of them, released at one time. That is a big give by the Hamas side. And if they make good with that, and from some of the information I had seen previously, they also expect a large number of Palestinian hostages to be released and to be brought back as well. We'll see if that ends up happening, but that's something that they're going to push for. They also, in that statement I read there, mentioned that the Palestinian people will not be expelled from the area, and that a lot of food aid will come in. The number on Steve Witkoff's 20-point plan was that there would be 600 trucks per day, which is what it was back at the height when there's enough food and water for everybody. And that is another thing that needs to happen almost immediately, like maybe even concurrent with getting the hostages out and the other prisoners repatriated, etc. So, man, I'm optimistic. This is the first time there's been anything good to report on this in quite a long time. So I'm really, really hopeful that this continues to go through. And I think a lot of the pressure that has been put from outside, from countries all over the world, from protests going on, from leaders of even Western countries saying they recognize a Palestinian state, putting more and more pressure on the Israeli government. And President Trump, I got to give him credit. He has been pushing for this, and right now it looks like he's making some progress. So for whatever I may say about President Trump on other issues, full credit on this one, and we wish him completely well. And I hope that this ends up happening all the way through. Now, I'm afraid I'm going to have to cut this a little bit short because I'm actually got to go on some UK media to talk about this here in just about 1 minute. If we get any more information, especially if we get any information out of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu makes a statement, if Ben-Gvir sends out anything on social media or something, or any other Arab leader makes any comments or anything further from the Hamas side, if we get any more of that, we'll bring it to you tonight. Otherwise, we will probably give you an update in the morning. And again, just breaking news, really good news here. And I pray to God that this is the moment that the war ends, and then we can work out all the details and all the difficulties. And there's a lot of difficulties that we're going to follow here. This is just the beginning of it. But if the killing stops tonight, this is a great deal and a great thing for the people of Palestine and for the Israeli people, for that matter. If everybody gets to live in a place, at least for a while, where there's no killing, it's a good thing for humanity and something I'm very much supportive of. Thank you, folks, and we'll get back to you as soon as we have some more details.